Okay, quick music disclaimer here. I do not own the rights to this music, which belongs to the rightful owner, who is the intoxicating mind of Dr. Frankenstein. So he made my intro and my outro, and I hope you guys enjoy. Check him out on Spotify and YouTube, and no copyright infringement is intended. Have a good day.
A clear choice of good versus evil, of right versus wrong.
Twisted Tales.
Welcome back to Twisted Tales, folks. Hope everybody's having a wicked night. So this one's a viewer request. One of my friends messaged me to pop this one off for them. So this episode will be number 45, and it'll be The Senseless Murder of Rena Verk. So let's fire off a little bit of a background here. So her father, Manjit Verk, was an immigrant from India. Her mom, Suman Verk, came from an Indo-Canadian family, and they converted from Hinduism to the Jehovah's Witness religion shortly after coming to Canada. Now, Indo-Canadians are Canadians who have ancestry from India, and usually the highest concentrations of Indian Canadians are found in the provinces of Ontario and British Columbia, also with growing communities in Alberta and Quebec. Now, Rena, she was born March 10th, 1983. She was described by some as desperate for not so much attention, but to be accepted amongst her peers. And school was hell for her. She was taunted and ostracized by a group of girls. They kind of thought they were tough, trying to be like LA street gangs, but they're just idiots. They bullied her for her weight and her insecurities. So this caused Rena to rebel a bit. So she started smoking cigarettes and rolling up the reefer. And even the whole Jehovah's Witness thing, it kind of threw her for a loop. She felt restricted by the rules of the family's faith. So she grew tired of this. And she was sick of being an outsider with the endless bullying. And that started to pile up too. She was just of a different race, and it was an all-white school. And racism should never be a fucking factor in life. We're all the same. Skin color shouldn't be an issue, but some it is, and it's fucking pathetic. In a desperation move, she wanted to try to break free of the family's tight restrictions, and she went about it the wrong way, but her plan eventually worked. She falsely accused her father, Manjit, of sexually assaulting her, and she just wanted to be removed from her parents. She ended up being placed in care of her grandparents, which she also didn't like. And she got an arrangement set up where she would eventually be set up with a foster family. But over the next few months, she did the old vicious cycle of bouncing back to her parents and foster care, youth centers, all that fun stuff. So, all while this was happening, she was still struggling to fit in amongst her peers. And they constantly rejected her. But one night, she kind of got tickled pink because she was invited to a party. Now, the party was thrown together on a night that she was supposed to be having an overnight stay with her parents. And this was held near Craigwater Bridge in Victoria, BC. And this would be on the night of November 14th, 1997. And when you usually think of parties, it's with people you trust. You go to have fun. You go to socialize. But in the end, this party wouldn't be the fairy tale that Rena expected it to be. And all that girl wanted was to have fun, be accepted. So she was fucking pumped to get to hang out, maybe meet some new friends. So while she was at the bridge, she hung out with some teenagers who were drinking, smoking joints. She had a blast. And she was actually felt relieved, kind of, that she was hanging out with some new friends. But then all of a sudden, she was swarmed by a group of 6 girls known as the Shoreline Six, because they're trying to be all like LA gangs, right? It was just mainly just a group of 6 bitchy, angry teen girls. Nicole Cook, Nicole Patterson, Missy Grace Pleach, Courtney Keith, Gail Ooms, and Kelly Marie Ellard. All these girls had involvement in this. So Nicole Cook put a cigarette out on Rena's forehead while others just stood around and watched. Nobody stepped in, and mainly because they're too chicken shit. So they all just watched the beginning of this unfold. Now Rena was repeatedly punched and kicked, burned with cigarettes. She had cigarette burns all over her skin, and even one attempt was made to set her hair on fire. Like, how fucking far does it have to go? And one girl spoke up, like, hey, leave her alone, stop. And it did for only a moment, but this was just the first of the beatings. Rena managed to walk away, but she was stalked by 2 people. One, Kelly Marie Ellard, and newcomer that was just a teen guy at the party, Warren Glowatsky. So he was just another punk bitch who thought he was tough for picking on a defenseless teen girl. Now the 2, they grabbed Rena and they dragged her over to the other side of the bridge, telling her to remove her shoes and jacket. So once she did what they demanded of her, the 2 started beating on her a second time. And, Kelly actually smashed her face into a tree and did that until she was unconscious. And then they dragged her over to the waterway of the Gorge waterway, and she ended up drowning. And even the guy had kicked Rena in the face twice, and it's unknown why he involved himself into the fight. So after all this, the 2 took off, and school was starting up and everything. Everybody kind of knew about this, and the ones involved made a pact to kind of not rat each other out. And even rumors of Verk's death kind of spread throughout the high school. And teachers and students, they heard the rumors, but nobody even reported this to police. Now, it's kind of messed up, because 8 days later, this would be November 22nd, 1997, police used a helicopter to find Verk's partially clothed body washed ashore at the Gorge Inlet. So this is actually a major waterway on Vancouver Island. And the coroner ruled her death was by drowning, although an autopsy later revealed that Verk had sustained a significant injury, and the head injuries alone were enough to kill her if she had not been drowned. So, it really didn't take police to figure out who was involved in the beatings. And Glowatsky, he was convicted in June 1999 of second-degree murder and given a life sentence. Now, since he was 16 years old at the time of the murder, this punk was eligible for parole after serving 7 years. November 2004, he was actually denied his first chance at day parole. And the Verks, being the great family they are, they went through a lot with this, and they actually didn't even contest this kid's parole, mainly because he showed remorse and responsibility and actually owned up to his part in the murder. July 2006, Glowatsky had been granted unescorted temporary absences from jail. So in December 2006, he'd actually be eligible to apply for day parole yet again, and this would be granted in June 2007. And during his little period in jail, he discovered that he was a Métis, so meaning of First Nations or Indigenous. So this Indigenous nationality kind of had a huge part in his parole hearings, because he wanted to now incorporate his elders and use other forms of restorative justice. When he got granted day parole, he actually began hugging the parole board and even her parents. It's kind of fucked. And he was released on full parole in June 2010. Kelly Ellard, now, she was about 15 years old when she drowned Virk. She actually stood trial 3 times for Rena Virk's murder, being convicted twice. Now, her first conviction was overturned on appeal from her lawyers. And though initially convicted in March 2000 for second-degree murder in Virk's death, February 2003, the conviction was overturned and a new trial was ordered. And the new trial ended up in a mistrial due to a result of a hung jury. Now, in July 2004, the third trial that was ordered, she was convicted again of second-degree murder in April 2005. She was given an automatic life sentence with no parole eligibility for 7 years. Allard was actually granted day parole in November 17, 2017. And in October 2018, upon further extension of her day parole, documents from the Parole Board of Canada showed that Ellard had changed her name to Carrie Marie Sim. So this suspended her day parole on August 2021. But they actually canceled the suspension of the day parole in October 2021. So May 2022, the now 39-year-old Ellard, or I guess Sim, as she goes by now, had waived her right to an upcoming parole hearing because she didn't feel ready to return to society on a full-time basis. But by law, she was still required to have them review her full parole and deemed her unworthy of moving beyond day parole. Now, Nicole Cook, she was born 1983. She lived in a group home at the time of the murder, so she spoke out on an interview at how she took a lit cigarette and put it out on Rena Virk's face. Also about how she repeatedly punched and kicked her as others were doing the same. But she didn't like the accusations of being a part of the role in her murder because Allard had been the main participant charged with her murder. Now, a reporter for MSNBC, an American news-based TV channel, named Keith Morrison, he asked, would the murder have ever happened if you didn't start the fight by burning her face with a lit cigarette? Cook only replied with, I don't know, maybe. Cook had also returned to the scene of the crime the next day. She wanted to retrieve Rena's shoes and her sweater. Now, she took these items back to the group home where she lived and forced a girl who was staying there, named Stephanie, to hide the belongings of Rena in her closet. And there's also 2 possible motives that may have led to Virk's death. 2 girls involved in the beating said that Rena stole Nicole Cook's phone number book, calling all of Cook's friends and saying shit about her. Other motives were because of her race, mainly the whole reason for the bullying, and so it was like a racial reason, and that's pretty much bullshit. Manjit and Suman Virk, the parents of Rena, brought out public awareness everywhere about the bullying. So they wanted to bring anti-bullying programs in schools, so this was successfully pushed by the British Columbia government. They also spoke in lots of meetings. These were attended by thousands of children, teachers, and law enforcement, and they told their story of the murder and their bullying of their daughter and how it shouldn't happen again, because mainly all these were on bullying conversations. Now, even in 2009 there, the Virks were honored with British Columbia's Anthony J. Hume Award of Distinction for their contributions to crime prevention and the safety of the community. Poor Suman Virk, she died on June 16, 2018, at the age of 58, after a choking incident in a Victoria cafe. And the Rena Virk case, it did shed light on issues related to bullying, peer pressure, and even youth violence, because that was a hell of a horrific crime. It shouldn't have happened. And even the subsequent trials and the convictions of those involved, this had brought attention to the needs for improved anti-bullying initiatives and support for the vulnerable youth. And that's it. That's all my little tale I have for you guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed. And you can follow us on Spotify, give me a rating, whatever you want to do. I really appreciate all you guys. I'm on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music app, and you can check us out there on Facebook for Twisted Tales. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. It's been a joy. Take care.
On November 14th, 1997, Rena Verk, a troubled 14-year-old outcast searching for acceptance, was invited by a friend to a party. They met behind Shoreline Middle School in Saanich, and from there a group of at least 8 girls and 1 guy, all under 16 years of age, walked to Craigflower Bridge. There they swarmed Verk, burning her with cigarette butts and repeatedly kicking her, allegedly for spreading rumors about them. An autopsy would later reveal her head injuries alone would have probably killed her, but officially she died of drowning.
We believe that there were other kids in that area. It's a popular hangout. As far as how many kids have firsthand knowledge of what actually took place, we are still going with those 8 for now. However, again, there could be more.
Verk's death revealed an ugliness in BC teenage society that few understood. There was possibly a racist element and certainly a new savagery among our youth because all but one of the perpetrators were girls.
And it didn't seem this way when I was growing up. And now out there, I just want to warn them that don't let this happen to you.
I see lots of girls in school picking fights on each other.
Everybody knew that she got beat up. Nobody knew that she was dead.
Verk's body floated for a week before finally being discovered. 3 girls would plead guilty to assault causing bodily harm, and 3 others were convicted of the same offense. The trial would hear how after the first beating, Kelly Ellard and Warren Glowatsky went back to the bridge and drowned Verk. Both would be convicted of second-degree murder. Only Glowatsky would later express remorse.
I've been able to realize the hurt that I've done to people.
He testified that he stood and watched as this other individual alone dragged Rena into waist-deep water of the gorge, held her head under the surface of the water until she drowned.
Glowatsky was fully paroled by 2010, but Ellard, who changed her name to Carrie Sim, was more defiant in prison, taking illegal drugs, repeatedly claiming her innocence, gave birth to a child in 2016, and by 2020, now in her late 30s, had a second child. She is now receiving day parole. The Verk family, after years of grief, finally forgave those who they believed showed true remorse.
I would say I felt compassion for them as young people.
The Rena Verk story inspired several books, academic theses, and documentaries. Rena's parents would launch an anti-bullying campaign and bring teenage violence to the forefront of public debate.
Twisted Tales.